give me access to the children that I could give the kid a kiss on the cheek. She said, no, I'm not comfortable. I'm uncomfortable.
So
And
let me get this straight. Wait. He was uncomfortable with you kind of sending your child off to sleep, tucking him into bed and kissing him and saying goodnight to him and spending a little time with him. But before that, was she comfortable?
I had sent a text that evening that I want to come back to the home. I didn't sign up to live outside. I've been sleeping by my host here, the host of the show, approximately 2, 3 nights a week. I tell him I want to sleep here. He tells me, no, it's not right. I want you to go home, this and that. But ultimately, I tell him I'm uncomfortable and can I sleep on your couch? And for whatever reason, we've been friends for 25, 30 years. He says, okay, you could sleep on the couch. So one day I sent my wife a text. Listen, we're getting divorced, but I want to see my children as long as possible. I want to be in my house as much as possible. And she told me, I don't think it's a good idea. You want to speak to me about reconciliation. There's no reconciliation. And don't come to the house.
But the real question is, did she feel comfortable with you being close to your children before the divorce? Was she okay with that?
I gotta tell you, my host here tells me, my wife told me she can't have any intimacy with me. So I would get dressed, I would shave, I'd put on cologne, I would take my children around. I would ask my wife, do I look good? There's other women interested in me. And she would tell me, I don't look at you that way anymore. Approximately after a few months, I would ask her, can you take another look? Maybe you'll like what you see. And she told me, I want to be with someone else.
What I want to know is, did she trust you before with your children? That's the question. Did she trust you with your children prior to her filing divorce?
Absolutely. Basically, all she wanted was me to have a connection with my children. I got to be honest with you. I went down a bad path that I didn't have any sexuality with my wife. I started to watch videos of porn, and I didn't have any sexuality with my wife for 2 years. And basically, she started to look down upon me, but she wasn't going to throw me out of the house.
So to me, that sounds like loving you one day, hating you the next day, with no justification. I mean, other than divorce. In other words, she'll do anything that needs to be done to divorce you, whether she wants to pretend that you threatened her or pretend that you're a threat to your own children, because she trusted you before with the children. There's never been an issue in the past. Am I correct?
Absolutely. When we solved the domestic violence issue, one of the things was she pulled out, videos, maybe me smoking some marijuana, maybe me getting loud with her, an interview with my child that he feels threatened from me, that he was coached. And basically we told her, we're ready to go to court and put this in front of a judge. I was allocated time with my 4 children. God should protect them and make them flourish for 2 days a week from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
I have to interrupt you for a moment. I've witnessed the way you interacted with your kids throughout the years, and I must say that you treated your kids in a very respectful, loving way, always, since I always remembered. I remember your children used to call your company, and I used to work for you for a couple years. Remember that? And you always found the time to take their call and give them the attention that they wanted. I've watched you play catch with the kids. I've watched you play with the kids and take them to a BMX bicycle show where they jumped over ramps and things like that, and they had such a great time hanging out with you that day. So everybody disciplines their children. When I acted up as a child, my father beat me very harshly, but I learned not to repeat certain behaviors, so it made me a better person. But what I want to know from you, did you ever beat your kids on a light scale or a heavy scale?
No, basically, I never really parented my kids because my wife was very domineering. It's funny now that I'm getting divorced and I go to a divorce therapist, he tells me, you might like having your kids around without your wife's input. My wife, I don't want to say I'm a religious person, but I like to go to synagogue on Saturday. And I wake up at 8:30 and I tell my kids get up. And my wife says, no, they don't want to get up. It's not a cult. You can't tell them what to do. So I'm kind of looking forward to having my wife out of the picture. If I want to send my son to Manhattan on a Tuesday afternoon when I have him from 6 to 8 and I want to go to La Marais, I don't have to ask my wife anymore.
Now, from what you're telling us, you sound more interested in God than your wife does. She seems actually not interested in God at all. Am I right?
My wife has a borderline behavioral problem. She doesn't have a connection with her father. She told me her body shuts down, and literally it did shut down. She didn't want to have any sex with me. She didn't want to have any relationship with me.
Is your wife religious? Or is she non-religious? Is she atheist? What is she?
No, my wife is non-practicing Jewish.
So she's less into God, her religion and God, and you're more into the religion. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Where do you think she learned to be outside of the godly world? What influences her?
Basically, she didn't have a positive relationship with her parents. She was a foster child, and it's very easy for her to divorce her parents and divorce myself, her husband.
Okay, so what I'm gathering is she does not have a great relationship with her father. Does her mom yell at her father a lot? Is he still around?
He's around, but basically he's disowned from, he does his own thing. That's the best way for me to say it.
Okay, so we have a female without a good relationship with her father. And I'm going to just take a guess. Her mother raised her mostly. Her mother was a stronger influence than the father. Would that be fair to say?
She lived in a foster home from, say, age 14 to 19.
Okay, so basically she didn't have a father while she was in that foster home.
Correct.
Her father was the state wherever she was living, state of New York, New Jersey, wherever she was.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you. Due to the lack of time, I have to go, but I'm going to make some comments after, and I want some comments from all of you out there. And what would you like to say, Willie?
Honestly, there's a lot of issues with my wife, her family, her children, her situation. But honestly, to pinpoint the problem is that I didn't spend enough time with my wife. I neglected her. I didn't spend enough time with my children. And this little problem really became a cancer.
Well, Willie, I just want to add that I've seen you spend time with your children, really good quality time. And I know you love your children. And I beg to differ from that. I mean, maybe people can always spend more time with their kids, but I don't see that as an excuse for her divorcing you. Audience members, let me know what you think. I know often when you're accused of something, sometimes you actually believe the accusations, even though they are false. So once again, my friend Willie, he admitted that he never laid a hand on his wife, never hit his wife, never threatened his wife, yet he got false, erroneous charges pressed against him, and he actually kind of believes that it was all his fault. So audience members, I want you to please make your comments, tell us what you think, and I'm going to say so long for now. I have to go, so I'm going to say bye-bye. Okay, bye now. It's after the interview now. I have some time alone and I could make some comments. Starting with, I've had many relationships in my life, and mostly the females tend to lie a lot and start an argument, and they swear that they're always right, and the man is always wrong. And if you don't apologize, the man is in trouble. And that's how I see Willy's relationship. His wife believes that she is some type of a goddess that can never be wrong ever. Meanwhile, I know what it was really like because I used to visit him at his $2 million home, and I used to watch the housekeeper do all the work, and I never saw her do any work except for complaining and whining and nagging him every single time I went there. That's all I ever heard. Now, nobody could ever be 100% totally innocent, but his wife brainwashed him into thinking that he's totally wrong and she's totally right, with an absolute. And the thing is, his wife came from nothing, from no money, zero. She didn't put a penny into his $2 million house. Meanwhile, she's getting 2/3 of that house after its sale. My friend's not exactly woke up yet. He's still in the beginning of the red pill phase. It's happening very slowly, but he will one day realize what happened. He doesn't have the nerve yet to speak up like I can speak, so I'm going to speak on behalf of him. That female was nothing but a gold digger. She saw that he had money, and she figured that she hit the golden lottery jackpot ticket. She cashed out after she had her kids, and she's looking to do it again. Meanwhile, she hit the wall. She's not going to do it again, but she took his money, and she ruined my friend's life. And I'm going to say so long for now. The lesson is don't get married. Peace out, everybody. This is Big Town Boys. Bye-bye now.